Barista is here. You can see that for yourself. And we're doing something different, something new, something we haven't done before on the show this morning. It means we are starting a new topic. And like you know, there is no ignorance when it comes to the law. So everything we do, as a matter of fact, even to events, is being regulated by the law. So this morning, we're going to look at the legal side of hosting event, because first off, things are returning back to normal. You know, schools are gradually opening, churches, mosques are opening this weekend and stuff. So it's just okay for us to know some certain things, because I know event centers, like very soon too, will soon they resume. So and that's what we'll be discussing anyways today. And Barista is here to do justice.
Yes, so Slimity, thank you very much. And like Slimity said, truly, things are coming back to normal, although there will be what they call the new normal. So
new normal.
we and all of us have to be very ready for it, one way or the other. When it comes to hosting events, you know, I was trying to say that, you know, hosting events and preparing or planning events, they might look the same. Sometimes they can be separated. But really, when you talk about host is a person who invites guests to a social event, such as a party, whether at a home or at a venue. Under a venue, probably you rented a place for them to be. But as long as you are the convener of that event, you are the host of that event. You know, so, and you'll be responsible for your guests while they are with you. It could be private space, it could be, and right now even hosting has gone online. So even when you are hosting a web kind of say Zoom event and things like that, the policy about the privacy of the individuals involved, so that your event will not be a link to other persons to be hit by a fraudster or their data to be stolen because of the event you held. So you have to be very careful about even hosting online events because of issues of privacy, issue of data protection and whatever. But online, in terms of on the ground, hosting events will suggest that you need to be careful about the attendant consequences or the things we say when you are hosting events. The thing we say is surround what you call liability. And you know, when I say liability is that responsibility where you go assume for law for things will go wrong, in case anything go wrong. You know, liability comes in various ways. It comes in different ways, and that's why you need to understand. Number one, liability you have to think about is the liability that has to do with law, compliance with law, compliance with law. When you are hosting an event, or whether at home or not, you just have to be very careful that the law that relates to that event or that hosting is complied with. What do I mean? Is there an approval? Is there, there have been instances when people held parties and they're supposed to have gotten permits to use a particular space or to even do that party, and they didn't hold it, and they didn't do that. And so they probably just, whether the event planner or the event host, thought that somebody had gone to do something and something. And then, when the time of the party comes, the so-called, the authorities concerned swoop, or, they come against the people there and arrest, or probably, and even sometimes that people in trying to show solidarity, they're even assuming fight posture against the law enforcement agents and what have you. The law is that when you are hosting events, the legality, you are taking responsibility for saying that event I'm holding, I have complied with the law.
Okay.
So if anybody comes to that event and because of that event is held for infraction or for saying the person has gone against the law, you, the host, will take a responsibility for that. That's very important. Whether it's about the place or whether it's about the time, it can be like, okay, in this area we don't have a party between 8 and the party must end by 6 o'clock. And for some reasons, your party is extended to 8 o'clock. Call it enjoyment. And so if they come to arrest, those who are there by that time, the law is that you, the host, will take the primary hit because you are the one that convened the party. So that's the criminal aspect, the law compliance. Also, when you're hosting party, don't allow it to become a place to be used for perpetration of crime. Because it's very possible that in your party people are taking drugs or they're taking illicit alcohol. They are doing the things that are wrong. You know, the primary, you can say, oh, no, I invited them and they are doing what they like. No, because you are the one that invited them. The space that they are occupying is because it's at your own behest. So at that level, when the police comes or law enforcement comes against that, if they arrest you, you cannot really have an excuse because you are more or less an accessory to that crime. You are the one that provided the platform for them to engage in whatever they are doing. So be very careful about that. And then don't also use, some people have tried to use events, don't allow people to use your event as an alibi. What I mean, there's a popular case. Those ones who lived in Lagos in the earlier, those days, there was a case of Ejigbadero, who used the party of his naming ceremony of his child to go and commit murder somewhere. So what he did was to have the party. So while the party was going on in full swing, he sneaked out to go and commit the crime, trying to use the party as an alibi. Be careful that those people that are in your party are not trying to use the party as an alibi to go and do something, because police come and ask, was he at your party? Was at my party? Did you know he was there for all the time? So that's why you have to, in some reasons, the best way to just ensure that one way or the other, in some parties nowadays, they'll give you a card. You store the card into a machine that tells you when you arrived and when you're going as well, so that it's an evidence and whatever. But you cannot, maybe your one is just a small party, what is called a class reunion party and things like that. But be very careful that you are also, your guests, you are able to put them in check. Another one is to, if you are hosting a party, to procure the assistance of probably criminals or people to come and help you. Probably you are getting people to come and say, be a bouncer. Be a bouncer. And the bouncer are people that ordinarily they like violence, they like wahala, to break bottle, they like, and what have you. You might call them bouncer, but anything that they do in the course of that working for you or securing, in quote, that event is going to come back to you.
Why does it have to come back to me?
Because you see, you are the one that brought them in.
I brought them in to come, supervise and of course put things in check, Abby.
Exactly.
Now, if at the end of the day, because I go for event a lot and I see things, maybe they perform for stage now, one particular person from a crowd member just jumped on stage, and then you just see the bouncer pushing the person off the stage. Now, for that kind of thing, now maybe my bouncer did it for my own security reason, like, okay, I don't know what this person
responsibility. If it's a private one, you see whatever your bouncer does, it comes back to you, because
what I'm saying is, but this person he has a personality, like they have an agency. So why does the blame have to come back to you? Why can't
the best way, probably the way people do is that you go and get a professional security or bouncing organization, personal safety, personal security organization, and then you make them independent contractors.
Okay.
What I mean that you make them like, look, you give me bouncers, but the responsibilities for those bouncers is on you. I'll just pay you for giving me.
So if anything that happens, then they go back to the head. That's what I'm saying.
So, but if you don't do that, but you see, ordinarily, if they come with me into this place, or they are protecting my party, for me, for anybody that they do something against, will not know between the arrangement between me and them. So the first part of call will be me that is the host of the party. Okay. You understand me? So in suing, you will first sue me as the host. So, of course, probably because of what I've signed with the security company, I will say that in case of liability, you also assume. So, while they're suing me, I'm also suing the company that, look, your men have done it too.
Because right now, what I'm saying, there's not saying a whole lot of things like they surround this hosting of events. Now, there are some other shows where we get to watch on TV, and they go tell you, say, okay, this thing is rated 18. Yeah. But obviously, I know they're your house, Amy. I know they're your house. I can't tell I can't tell you to switch off your TV or to control your child from watching. And now you can see some persons coming out to say, okay, they need to bring this down. This is affecting our kids. Our kids are watching and stuff. And you see some organizations just trying to bring that particular program down, maybe because of the few say go get after effect on the children. Now, because I would have loved to ask, because as a matter of fact, something like that they on ground right now. You know, is it supposed to be my own problem that you can control your kids from watching that? After I already said, it shouldn't, if you're less than 18, you should not watch. You know, I kept that regulation there. So why do you guys have to start blaming or start shouting that they need to bring down the event?
In time past, you see, really what happened is time past. I mean, still now for some jurisdiction, is that you are assumed that you are responsible to people out there. You know, beyond just your position, I'm just providing whatever. So if you are doing a, say, rated X or 18 within the time of, say, 8 to 8 in the evening, it's assumed that you ought to know that somehow you cannot totally preserve, I mean,
but that's not wide for the decoders we have now. Barista,
they
can easily... So if people should control that your respective was not us.
That's why they are saying that they have to put parental guide and what have you and things like that. But you see, when it comes to the issue of tort, that's what they call, there's an area of law that is called tort. Tort is about civil wrong. When somebody perceives that you have wronged me, it's not boxed up. It's as by whenever you have a perception that what they are doing is wrong, they are corrupting my children, they're exposing me. In fact, you know, sometimes that's why I say some, you know, you're in some program, there'll be flashlights. Some people have even sued that, look, those flashlights are affecting their sight. And that's why they tell you that in some, look, the scenes you're about to watch consists of flashlights.
So you need to inform
or
them
probably some gory details. Because if you show me blood, just because you are showing me news, then I can say that you have offended my basic what is it called, sensitivity about this. So these are possibilities. These are possibilities of law. They call it tort, the area of tort.
Okay, it's obvious we have so many things to talk about on the show this morning. Because anyway, so let's quickly go for our first and the first break for today, and we'll be right back to open the phone line. Stick around. We'll come back.
Our people in the talk say ignorance of the law. No be excuse.
If my name is for property, my child don't fit take that thing.
But I get one question. Now, if person die now and he puts his wife or he puts any of his relative as next.
Ignorance of the law no be excuse o. That's na why we get one ogbonge program where we dey call Legal Matta on top WAP TV. You fit interact with us on top the show or talk to Barrister Vincent through we phone numbers wey be 08173147589 and 08105434984. You still fit call us on top with Skype ID wey be WAP TV.
I know say now I don't get questions, now I don't get contributions to make based on wetin Barrister they talk about this morning. We dey look the side, the legal side of hosting events. You know, now wetin we dey discuss today, now be that on top of the show. So if you be event planner or you be the host event and all of that, and you get questions or you get your reservations to make, please feel free to call those numbers with on your screen, 081-054-34984 and of course 08173147589. Please, may not call us on Skype. We had just one Skype caller today. We intend to see more on the show this morning. Please feel free. Add us up on top of our Skype and we'll be at WAP TV. You can see that for yourself. Just download Skype and first search for WAP TV. You see us there, and then any day, anytime, you are free to call. So, Barrister, I was on that case of you were making an example of movies we see. So
they'll tell you, be very careful. They'll tell you that viewers' discretion is advice and whatever. So it's because of issues. There have been cases. I mean, look, it's just because for some reasons, you know, in Nigeria, our legal system is still a bit slow or drawing. It doesn't go as fast. But you know, in America or probably Britain, the average life cycle of a case is probably maximum around 9 or 10 months. So it's easy to pick a suit and to say, I want to do this suit. So, you know, so they call them highly litigious society, where people they like cases because they know now open and shut, go inside, come out. So that's why it's very easy to say, okay, look, I've been enjoyed. This thing when you show was not good for me. This thing when I show. So parental guide is, in fact, even a parental guide they try to say that, look, even then, at Parental Guide, have channels that are dedicated that, okay, before you can say you want to even subscribe to these channels, you must sign consent that you are.
That's what I'm saying. So if after all of these regulations are done, if after all of these instructions are done,
then at that point in time, if you
and
go to
then
court,
you now do otherwise, why do
that
they
at that
have
point in time, if you go to court, the court have they can decide that, look,
After
you
all.
have done all that you can do.
Hey.
But it will be, that's why you also have to be very sure that you have done everything possible. You know, I'll give you an example. People that were working they were smoking cigarettes. You know, after a while, it was discovered that cigarette was cause of cancer. You know, even though you could say that they are the one that bought the cigarette, but at the point in time, in America, they sued the cigarette manufacturers. They sued and they got billions of dollars in terms of compensation. They call it class action. Class action. They sued for that. The cost, the cost that. So it was a case that, look, yes, I bought it from you. Yes, you advertised. Yes, the advertisement was alluring. Yes, I had the choice not to buy. But you also owe me the duty of letting me know exactly the content that is likely to cost me.
I'm supposed to educate you.
Yes.
So even after they wrote smokers are liable to die young.
Oh yes, that's why.
Clear.
That's why now, if you sell a food, if you sell food,
okay.
if you sell food and
Anyway, law.
you don't put all the ingredients there, and you probably eat it and I develop a reaction, I can sue you. But let's go back to.
Please go back to because
the issue.
This is deeper than I imagined.
Yes, it's issue. So if you don't comply with the law as regards, so that's another liability when it comes to the hosting event. There are some laws that talks about how to prepare the food, how to put the food out there, how to vend the vendors of the food, what they are going to do, how to cover their hair and things like that, hygiene, even facilities to be used and what have you. So if there are such law that prescribe facilities, provide this, how to pack, to put your car, the cars of your guests, and you don't comply with that law. So that one that if your guests, let's say they park at the wrong side of the road and their cars were towed because you did not provide the right place, then the responsibility for taking that back, like removing that car, getting that car back, will lie on the host because you are the one that brought me to that event. And you see, it's something that you have to be very careful of because we take a lot of things for granted in this part of the world, but the reality is just because our court system is a bit belabored in terms of time. Because otherwise, Abdullahi, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Thank you. Morning.
Okay, please go on. You have questions or you got contributions to make?
All right. Yeah. Good morning. I'm Abdullahi calling, journalist Abdullahi Rada calling from Abuja.
Good to have you on the show.
Yeah. The question I want to ask is this.
Yeah.
I noticed that there were some certain people that have I think I saw it in one YouTube channel or something like that.
Yes.
That people are being sued for the color they watch in television. That they have basic colors that you need to show in a television station. And in my program in NT Television Collections, they said something like that. My question now is this. He was saying something about viewers' discretion and all that.
Yeah.
I want him to throw more light to that. Is it true that you have some colors you wear? It's not necessarily to maybe one is indecently dressed.
Yeah, yes. It's some. That's why you see some climes there's a sensitivity to color, and color even sometimes suggests something that's beyond what there's a science of colors. It even suggests something that's beyond what you think it is. So there's a way that even for an event, the color you wear can suggest something different from what you intend to do. So that's why even when you are doing that, you have to be very certain that the color that you are speaking, the color of the that you are using, is not suggestive of an insult. Because in law, there can be defamation. Defamation may not be even that what you said. It can even be an innuendo. The way you depict things that will suggest that you are trying to address or insult somebody. And so that can also be an issue for, So that's why you have to be very careful about when it comes to hosting things. And, really, just your question, like, there are people who have come to parties and they felt insulted by the things that was done in his party, and it led to legal suit. Because you see, it was not intended, but probably there were some issues. Some people, so you seem to be siding the other party, other side, because of what you put out on that party. So, and it has led to issues, really. Sometimes, you call it ridiculous. Sometimes you call it, like laughable. But there are legal things that, because the court is not closed. You can always go there and say, look, this and this happened and what have you, and things like that. So really, it's possible that colors can cause, a source of liability in some issues. That may not be intended, and sometimes it might be intended. So
it's okay. So, but then if you're not too clear, you got more questions.
Yes.
Abdullah that called us not quite long. Please feel free to give Barrister a call.
Thank you very much.
After the show, definitely.
So, not complying with the law, food hygiene, safety of guests.
Okay, let's take Khadijat from Niger State.
Yo, Khadija.
Khadijat.
Hello.
Hi, good
Hi,
morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, baby. Good morning. Hello,
Good
Khadijat.
morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
Fine.
This your voice. Why is it
It's a
going?
baby- it's a
It's
baby's voice.
reducing. Anyway, so you get questions for Barrister.
No, I just want to say hi.
Hi,
Oh,
Khadija.
thank you for
Thank
saying
you. Thank
hi.
you. I think Timothy is a prophetess. He said baby girl. So she sounded like him. So now let's move away from legal liability because to civil liability. You see, liability now means in that sense. Let me give you an instance of some of the things I'm talking about that you have to see. Hosting an event at a public place, sometimes open field, crusades, even parties. When you do that, you have to find that you have to secure the premises. You have to secure that because once you are hosting the event, you say you are announcing regularly that look, please be careful, hold your properties well, or what have you. So once you are doing that, because you can say I want to host a party, and another issue. Let me go to civil liability. Civil liability. I give you a case of civil liability that happened once to me, to my friend. My friend wants to have a wedding, and he was to have a wedding at somewhere in Surulere, Lagos, and decided that the wedding itself will be in the church at Surulere, but the party, after reception, will be at Sheraton Hotel in Ikeja, and it was meant to be an exclusive invite for his personal friends and family members. So he gave 2 IVs, one for those who are, just like they do in England, and things like that, one for those who are coming to church, and one for those who are coming to the
So it's either you come for the church
or come to the church. If you're a 2 personal friend, very personal friend of ours, you come for the 2.
Okay.
But what happened was that on that day, I think people got the wind, and while we were seated, at the church, doing our wedding, people who ordinarily knew where we were headed about where the reception was.
So
they just went to Sheraton and sat gidigba
waiting
at Sheraton inside the hall, because by that time Sheraton are not even
giving. You pay for this.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. So sorry. So when we got there, the whole hall was filled. And all the food that was meant to be given
had finished.
Had not finished. It's just that then the food was not meant to be enough.
Oh.
As at that time, I'm talking about 1990s.
Oh.
My friend had to bring out almost 600,000 naira extra because of the liability for the extra food that was eaten by those who came, who were not invited. You see, at that point in time, you cannot say no because you are committed. That's it.
No, I'm not committed though.
I'm
not committed. Like you said, the IV, you had like 2 different IVs.
Yes.
One for church and then one for the.
Because
if I told you to come to church and you come, I will bounce you.
You see, the point is that if there's in cause of fracas, in the course of letting people go, and they destroy something in the hotel.
Okay.
You are going to your pastor. So it's better you accommodate and so that's the liabilities you have to understand. Another one, an event center had a soccer pit around the place uncovered, and while in the course of all the thing that was going on, some children were playing around, and one of the children fell into the soccer pit and died. Of course, it was a liability for the you know, for the
Host.
because for the host it was a liability because you ought to have known that this event center was
And
not
you invited
suitable.
kids
Yes,
too.
yes. Another one, you know, they had an event.
Okay, now so the way they, because of our time now, Barrister, the way they take sue the host, can I also sue the event center, because they should have also made provisions to cover it.
If you are suing the event center,
if you make it,
if you are suing the event center, that's you and the event center. Because ordinarily you should have also seen those things. Those are the part of the things that you have given yourself to look at. Because you see, it's not about the event center now. It's about the guests you invited to that event center.
you are definitely going to continue from me. Barrister, 'cause I see you trying to rush it, but we'll take it easy.
All right, because of time.
Yeah,
because
of time.
But I just want you to understand that events hosting comes with some legalities.
It's
as
a
well.
big deal. So
Yes,
if you're
a big
going to
deal.
host, then you be ready for
Yes,
all of it.
yes.
Anyway, so thank you so very much. We'll see you guys again next week, Wednesday. But the show continues tomorrow morning with Chief and my able self. We love you guys. Have amazing
And you too.
week.